Looks like the spice has returned to flow once again. And today I am reviewing Dune Part 2. After so much time of waiting, it's finally here, baby. Will the spiciness take over the soul? Or will Denis break my heart and suck up all the love like a sandworm? Let's find out. So, what did I think? It's amazing! No one would have ever doubted Denis over this, but it's freaking amazing. But I'll go on it bit for bit, first in the non-spoiler segment, and then I get to the spoiler segment with a small break in between. So for the story, it continues almost exactly where the first one stops off. Um, where Paul, Jessica, Chani, Stilgar, and the rest of the Fremen try come back to strike back against the Harkonnens after everything that went on in the first film. With most of the movie having to the Fremen preparing Poe for battle to become one of them, while the Harkonnens are doing their own thing on the side, trying to defend their, I guess, newly taken land. While a bunch of other stuff happens with the Emperor and the Princess Irulan, this time played by Florence the Pugh herself. But I'll get to her more later. So, I can say this first of all. It's a movie where a lot happens, but also not a lot happens. But I think that might have to do since most of the movie takes place in the desert planet of Arrakis. The scenes do start to blend in together. But first, I'll get into it. Of course, the story is great. I guess has thanks to it having some great source material for it to take inspiration from. I can also say for sure a good chunk of this was not like a repeat of my review of the first movies, and I'll just kind of be praising a lot of the similar aspects, like the technical design. Like it's paced really well. It's almost 3 hours long, but it goes by pretty fast. Like sure, I guess there's a little bit of slow time in the middle, but it goes by really well, and I wouldn't mind watching both of these movies again several times if only I had the time. Of course, the CGI and the visual effects, the practical effects are all stunning. It's all wonderful. Of course, is what you expect. They really put their heart and soul into this. The music, the score by Hans Zimmer, fantastic. Just as atmospheric as that of the first, and really provides the mood perfectly. I say sometimes it does get a little too loud, as it Hans and Denis got a little too carried away, but that's just a minor thing because my ears weren't hurting, but I could for sure feel something in my ears. The sound design of exquisite. For sure, it's quite the experience. I can say that for sure. Of course, also the cinematography is just as amazing as the first movie, and sometimes better. Miguel says overall, I like this movie more than the first, actually. But I do have some things to say about it. I wasn't sure I was even thinking about, but then I feel like it's true. The performances, all great. No one feels left behind in terms of like acting abilities. Of course, Timothy Chalamet shines as Paul Atreides. Zendaya is fantastic as Chani. Rebecca Ferguson is great as Jessica. Even some of the side characters are pretty fun too, like Javier Bardem as Stilgar, and even returning as Josh Brolin as Gurney. And then, of course, you get the intimidating as villains. You get the new additions, but I'll get to them more later. What I really, really appreciated, I know, thanks to the source material, I can really feel the drama and the stakes on this time around, possibly more than before. And of course, the themes work really well because, of course, I know the reason why its author Frank Herbert made it was for it to be relevant and very culturally relevant, and all this social commentary, because thanks to it, it feels more relevant than ever. It has to do with like believing in messiahs and like power corrupting and businesses, exploitations. Just in case if you know the story, you can know where I'm coming from a mile away. But yeah, it does it pretty well, outstandingly. So like for that, I give credit to Denis and the writing team, and everyone, not just him, because of course these great movies are a team effort. But yeah, the new additions include Princess Irulan, played by Florence Pugh, which I'm not sure to even say her name. The Emperor Shaddam IV, played by the legendary Christopher Walken. Austin Butler as a creepy as hell Fade Routha. Yes. Leah Seydoux as Count Margot Fenring. Yes, it's Count. And of course, some of the side Fremen characters that get some time to shine here and there. They're all pretty good. I'll get more detail in it. What I can say for sure is that it doesn't feel like a sequel, rather like, of course, the second half of a story, since it's adapting the first book. So because it doesn't feel that far off and different, it doesn't feel visually and I guess in vibe sense, doesn't feel that different from the first, even though it's a lot different happens. I guess it's of course same environments mostly, so you're kind of getting more of the same visually. It's great, but in terms of visuals, you do get more of the same. And of course, it's like, since of course 2 years have passed, I kind of know what happened in the story, not everything, but because that it's not exactly shocking, but it is surprising, like witnessing the execution and like the rawness and just the beauty of it all. It's certainly a sight to behold, so I guess I can't really have that to complain about. It's great. Yeah, scenes do blend together to the desert. For sure, I'm gonna have a lot to say on the spoiler segment because yeah, a lot of this is a surprise, even if you know what's gonna happen. What I can say is, this movie is so great that I can't really talk about it a lot. I guess maybe because of this movie has so much unanimous praise that I personally can't add anything truly new to it, aside from some opinions that I'll have to say out loud, just to be honest. I can really say this movie had me in such awe and speechlessness that I could feel it's indescribable. But yeah, that's how it is. It's great movie, great effort. Okay, I guess I really thought it was gonna be longer, but anyway, I'll get to the spoiler segments, which I'll give a few seconds of time for. Okay, now to get to spoilers. Here we go. Of course, one of the greatest things I can say is how much its for the most part, successfully pulls out the payoffs that many have been waiting like 2 years for, possibly even longer, to witness on the big screen. Because man, what a screen that was with all the quality. And for sure, it succeeds for the most part in that category. And I was gonna leave it almost as there and just treat like this a normal review. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought I had to say something about this just to keep the honesty going. Because thinking about it now, like giving it almost a whole day to think about it, this might sound really weird, but this might be the best movie I've seen that I have possibly the most to complain about in recent times. Because yeah, I love this movie. It's better than the first. It does some things better, some things weaker, mostly better. But I also have plenty of personal nitpicks with it. But the great stuff works so well that it kind of cancels most of it out. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I'll try getting bit to bit. First of all, same thing as the first movie, some side characters don't do much. Because, to get this out of the way early, even though it's the second half of the first Dune book, it seems like now it's being set up as, well, it's already not set up because it's already happened, as the second movie of a trilogy, or possibly even more. Who knows at this point? Because I know there's that first book that Denis wisely chose to split into two movies, but then there's the next book, Dune Messiah, that the great lover man himself, Denis, wants to treat as the end of a trilogy. But the thing is, there are even more books that tell even more stories, so they could either go all Harry Potter style and do as much as they can with all these books, or they just end it off there. I kind of would like to see the second option to see how far they can take it and how far the actors can take it if they're cool with it. I hope they're down for this own franchise. But if this really is a trilogy, I say it does feel both complete and incomplete. So because there's definitely some extra plots that are threading and will not be resolved until the next movie, just like people thought with the first movie and the second. Because the Harkonnens also I feel don't have a lot to do. They're the villains and they're creepy and they're intimidating, but they don't have much of a presence personally, for the most part, because not even the Emperor, which this movie's really focused on like Paul and the Fremen and like their quest to strike back. And like with the first one, it feels like a vignette, a collection of scenes that go bit by bit, rather like a flowing narrative. Because there's definitely stuff that feels missing, but not in a bad way. Because both of the Dune movies feel like they're both 5 or 6 hours worth of story crammed into movie length. It's done pretty well. But personally speaking, I wouldn't mind if both movies were even longer. I guess with how much I got to like them, because I feel there's stuff that's missing, and I know there is because these movies showcase a lot of lore, but I feel they only have like around 60 to 70% of its lore, and there's still stuff that's not there. Even the Emperor, as much as they make a big deal out of him and how important he is, he's only in it for like around 10 minutes. Same with Irulan. I don't think they even say her name either. So of course, these are both characters that they made a massive deal. Well, mostly the Emperor. They never mention Irulan, and it's a little odd that the Emperor is like 70 years old and like her princess daughter is like in her 20s. I know, like some bizarre sci-fi logic, but hey, it is what it is. They don't do a lot in this story because kind of it's focused on more on Paul's journey, but I say they focus on so many things that some parts feel like afterthoughts. Because I guess I didn't really get to care that much about Irulan herself in the next this story. I guess they'll do more of her later on. So of course it's like saying, okay, we're not doing much with this person, but we'll do more with them later on. So hopefully they deliver. Because Chani wasn't in the first movie a lot, but she's like basically almost a main character in this one too. So they gave her an upgrade. We'll see about these guys. There's not much action, which isn't really a complaint, but I guess one thing to notice. I know Denis is not really interested in action, but I say one of my personal nitpicks was that the final battle could have been longer. Like they have it's like they build this battle up for like 2 hours, possibly 3 if you include the third act of the first movie, and the battle itself it's only like 10 minutes. It's still a great payoff because especially with the sword fight that happens after. Because I say with all the payoff they have from Fade Rautha to like succeed the Baron and possibly the Emperor, giving him all this power despite being a psychopath. They did a wise choice with what they did to him because out of the new characters, he's the most interesting. I guess they really marketed the hell of Florence Pugh out of not being in this movie much, but hey, it is what it is, marketing. But yeah, the sword fight, the knife fight at the end was excellent. It was wise for them to like remove the music, only focus on the sound and like the choreography, because that added extra stakes than it usually could have been. So that was interesting. What else can I say? Pardon the long way. Yeah, almost nothing to say, even with all the greatness that one witnesses on screen. I guess now the Harkonnens are no longer a factor in this story with now, spoiler, the Baron, Revan, and now Fade Ralph being dead. And fiddly enough, he gets the Baron's body gets dumped in the desert to be consumed by ants. And like, of course, like a man by satisfaction, finally get to see Paul kill the Baron for revenge for him killing his father and plenty of loved ones and innocent soldiers. So he got his comeuppance, and he gets killed. I was like, yes, I raised my fist in the air because I've been waiting for that for so long. It does have a cameo in the middle because I know they have that massive setup of Jessica being pregnant, and also speaking of which, Margot is also pregnant. But I guess their baby hit her, and Fade Ralph's baby is definitely going to be a plot point in the next movie because of course there's plenty of setup that won't get paid off until the next one. But for sure, the ending is very strong and powerful, even though I kind of saw it coming with where they were heading. But still, what a surprise it was to see now Paul be in charge of the whole Fremen army and be able to defeat the Harkonnens finally, and be able to submit, well, bring the Emperor to his knees and to submit. And now possibly them going to war with the other houses of the galaxy, because like Alia said, being Paul's younger sister who's yet to be born but now pregnant, had Jessica pregnant, it'll be time for the Maldiv Holy War. Long live the fighters. Let's carry on everything forevermore. Because yeah, they're going to war. Chani is not in agreement. She leaves everyone behind on her own. Also, of course, Gurney comes back. Seems like she's alive and joins Paul and his army. Also, Jessica, I know again with the critique of religion, because I guess the bad mistake of her drinking that blue juice, that I guess whatever, I forgot what it was called, that special blue juice, which turns out to just be, I guess, worm juice. Makes her go insane and gives her the idea that I guess see vision as well. That she needs to convince all the Fremen that Paul is a messiah, so they can to use him for her to get the ending that she wanted and have her version of the Bene Gesserit take control of the galaxy. Of course, if you use her daughter Alia, which I'm sure is the name or say her name, to be a part of that destiny. It'll be exciting to witness. I know all the trials and tribulations that he had with having to ride the worm and live some time in the desert on his own, and getting to know all the people and having to get on the side, even though he partially didn't want to. But again, now when he finally saw the visions, the clear visions, that the way he needs to go is the way to go, no matter what the sacrifice. It does give me flashbacks of a certain popular anime that dominated pop culture in the last decade. So yeah, it is a tragedy to see him go this far in the deep end, and possibly even more kind of horrifying. As someone on social media says, this joins the ranks of Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith and the Hunger Games The Ballad of Songbirds of Snakes as now being part of the My Twink Boyfriend Becomes a Genocidal Dictator cinematic universe. Because it sucks for him to go this far, but hey, what can you do in this crazy ass world of Dune? They say it was his spice, his desert, his Dune, alright? So this is what they get. They suffer the consequences. But I do find it a little odd that in the beginning, that the Fremen just leave Jamis' dead body out there for the Harkonnens possibly to take. So that was kind of an odd, very lucky coincidence that they left his dead body alone, because if they didn't, they could have taken him away and it would have gone that opening, I guess, funeral be a waste. But yeah, not much action. It's gorgeous to accompany the visuals, but it's short. But hey, it has a lot of greatness to boot. But yeah, also yeah, Alia. well, yeah, Paul gets a vision of her in the future as an adult, or around his age, where she is played by none other than Anya Taylor-Joy. Yep, Queen's Gambit, Princess Peach herself is gonna be Alia. But I'm not gonna lie, and I mean it was no offense. That whole scene made it feel like I was in a Marvel movie for a second because how they were bringing a cameo from a well-known actor to appear in just one scene. I know they get like you hear her voices, you hear her voice every once in a while in the middle or by the end. But when you bring in this character played by this famous actress, clearly meant for future setup, then it feels like it makes this feel slightly incomplete. Because I mentioned earlier about missing some lore. Um, some side characters aren't in this, like Jamis' wife. They don't bring back Tufir Hawat, if I said his name right or wrong. They don't bring Count Fenring, the husband of Margot. I think he was supposed to be played by Tim Blake Nelson, but I guess they just left him alone. Not sure why they casted him if they wouldn't use him, unless they use him in the next movie. So yeah, like it definitely feels like some stuff is missing, but still, fantastic movie. It certainly earns most of the payoff of the first one, but as a now on to the next one, Dune Messiah, boy. But if I were to say one major nitpick I would have with it, well, two of them. One, personally, I guess now we're two movies in, even though I like the characters of Paul and Chani individually and as friends, I could never buy their romance. They always felt like mutual friends, right? Like this lovers, and they make a big deal of this being this grand epic romance, but of course it'd be feeling like an afterthought. And having to juggle so many characters with this massive cast, I don't really feel the love, but I do feel some of the appreciation they have for each other, and the kind of the heartbreak of Paul having to say in front of her that he will take Irulan in hand just so he can rule over the galaxy. I guess for now we'll see how far he goes. And Chani feels betrayed and goes off on her own a sandworm. And the other is this is an achievement. This is an amazing film, an amazing experience. But it's certainly a brain movie and not a heart movie because this movie almost has no heart and soul. And I mean there's none offensively. It's great, but there isn't a lot of charm. There's some charm, and surprisingly there is more humor in this movie than the last one, and luckily it doesn't feel out of place, thank goodness. But at least it gave me the one thing I've been waiting many years for, which is to see Zendaya kick ass. And she kicked plenty of ass. Because yeah, I'm an OG Disney Channel fan. I was waiting since the first movie, possibly even further, to see her kick major ass in a blockbuster movie, and I got it. So that was personal satisfaction fulfilled. So yeah, this is a landmark of modern sci-fi filmmaking. So go watch it. I really want to hug and kiss Denis Villeneuve right now. So for this, I ended off with a 91 out of 100. Let's see if they can top this, and we can get a true brand new classic trilogy in the making with Dune Messiah, or unless they actually want to turn this into a long-running franchise, because I know they were making a spin-off show, Dune the Sisterhood, which I guess it's going through reshoots. I guess now called Dune Prophecy. We'll see how that goes. I hope it lives up to the legacy, or quote-unquote legacy, even I think not sure what kind of story it follows. But on to the next one. See you guys later. Amazing movie, by the way. I still love this. Hearts and kisses to everyone involved. Y'all did a great job, baby.